Welcome back everyone, and welcome to another Division 2 video. This time I'm going to be talking about a past project of mine, something that I've really tried numerous times, numerous updates. You know, every time they come out with a new piece of gear that might help, I try it over and over again. And sadly, this one is ending no differently. It is kind of a failure. I mean, there's some good takeaways, but the actual goal of what I was trying to do has failed, and that's kind of disappointing for me. But anyway, let's talk about it. Now, the original intention behind this build, well, truthfully, the original intention behind this build was actually to be a shotgun build. Yes, that's right, a shotgun build. And if you watch the channel, you know pretty much exactly what I'm talking about here. And this is kind of going back to Division 1 days with the Medved. Now, what we end up having with the Medved was a shotgun that actually fired a slug instead of buckshot. So instead of having the 8 pellets like you see normally, it would basically just have one big slug. And if you played like Battlefield or other video games, you're probably familiar, or if you actually have a shotgun yourself, then you're probably familiar with the difference between slugs and buckshot. Obviously, 8 pellets versus, well, I mean, I guess it's kind of like one bullet, So, except it's just a lot bigger and heavier. But anyway, the whole point of this build was I wanted to try to recreate the Medved. I wanted to kind of get that really tight laser focus accuracy and be able to hit targets at long distance. Now, of course, if you look at my damage on the send-off, I'm actually hitting really good damage. I mean, 177 at 50 meters, I'm only losing about 20k. So I'm only losing about 10% of my damage at 50 meters down there. Now, that's not fantastic. I mean, obviously, I'm not doing fantastic damage. However, the biggest issue with this build in general, at least at this distance, is just the accuracy. I can't get that accuracy any lower than that. That's as small as I can get the reticle on send-off. So as useful as it might be at longer ranges, it basically just kind of shoots itself in the foot. I mean, there's really no point in using this thing much past 20 meters. Like, it's just, yeah. Like, at 20 meters, I can hit constant body shots, pretty much everything. But I'm not going to be pegging the head. Like, yeah, it's pointless. So my other hope was to try to do this with the Super 90, which is probably one of the better shotguns for this, except there's really obviously no way to boost my range on it. Like, I mean, I'm getting like 135 here, but as soon as I try to go this far, yeah, like I'm at half damage already. So it's already reached its peak, and there's no way I can use this as like an actual long range. In fact, I think it starts to drop at like 25 or 35. And it's going to be basically unusable past that point. And actually, I think it's already dropping in here at 20. Let me see here. What it's getting. Yeah, so 148. Yeah, so at 15, it's already basically the furthest that it's going to get for the max damage on this thing. So, there's... Actually, I guess, no, sorry. It's at 10 meters. Let's see, what's the accuracy? There's a drop off on it. My drop off on it, it says it's 16 down there. But anyway, yeah, so 16 is theoretically where it's supposed to be hitting at for max damage, but we can tell that's slightly off here. Or at least the distance and the ranges don't quite match. Anyway, the whole point, it doesn't work. I'm not going to get it. No matter even if I get 99 stacks of steady-handed, it's not going to be enough for this build. Look, what I need is roughly half of this size. As of right now, what you can see, let's just do it like this. So what I need, or what I have, is this outer portion right here. Okay, so this second to the interior is basically the standard accuracy that I have in my shotgun. If I get 99 stacks, it's going to be about right here. So it's going to be at the 9s. It's going to be a circle around the 9s at 99 stacks with everything that I currently have on my build. What I would need is to get this as I guess I would say, steady starting point, or at least reasonably accurate, or at least reasonably obtainable. I would need to be about here, right? And then I would also need to find a way to actually increase the optimal range by about 100% to really make it useful out to longer distances. So somehow finding a send off that I can get like 300% accuracy on, if my calculations are roughly correct, and that's just not going to happen. So the Medved in Division 2 is never going to happen unless they actually add a Medved or add a talent that increases the ability to do this. Basically, if they add an actual talent, it's like buckshot, or not buckshot, but slug. So that way it just changes all of your shotguns to slugs. Then maybe I could see that this happens. You know, if the slug lowered the damage by, like, let's say 25%, but increased accuracy and optimal range by, like 100%, then yes, definitely I could see that being a possibility of getting where I want to. But yeah, again, it's not going to happen. And what my build is obviously it got Hotshot and Ninjabike, so I get that 30% weapon handling. I've got, again, Ninjabike and Overlord for accuracy and weapon handling, plus I've got Braced here for the 45% weapon handling when in cover. I've got a piece of Strikers here for that 15% weapon handling. I've even got some weapon handling rolls on some of these pieces. And, of course, I've just got the Fox's Prayer and the Contractor's Gloves. Obviously, that was mostly just to give a little bit of extra damage. And obviously, Petrov has a second slot for weapon handling, which is great. And Fox's Prayer, which is the Overlord, has accuracy, which I need, and weapon handling, which, again, I need. So those are actually pretty good pieces for this build, because not only am I getting the damage, but I'm getting that handling, which is what I wanted. Now, unfortunately, since this really didn't work out, I'm not going to get the shotguns to where I want them to be. I'm not going to get them into a usable manner, or at least, I mean, it would be great to be pegging headshots from like 40 meters with a shotgun. Yeah, I think that would be pretty sweet, because it would be a great up-close weapon, and it would be a good long-distance weapon, or at least a really solid medium-range weapon. But, yeah, Division hates shotguns and LMGs, and I think we all kind of know these things. Since I kind of wanted to see what I could do with this build besides that, I did end up just kind of changing some things around. And that's mostly, let's just show you guys here. Obviously, went with the bighorn. And, yeah, I think that's some pretty decent stability there. Pretty decent accuracy. Even in the single shot mode, is really, really good. And, of course, the 1886. I am a fan of the 1886. Definitely got some stability, and I must say that the reload is probably my favorite thing. It's a much faster reload than you would normally have on this thing, so that's great. But let's take a look here. That's not how I do it. Gotta do it like this. Okay, there we go. Easier to look at. So obviously I've got the bighorn and the 1886. For the pistol, really it doesn't even matter. You guys can just pick whatever you want, put on there whatever you want. You can go D50 with determined, or profit with the perfect determined. I mean, it doesn't matter. Pick whatever you want. I don't really use it, at least in the build, so I can't really say it matters to me in this point. Obviously my 1886, it's not a perfect. It's got headshot damage on it. I think I would rather have the damage to targets out of cover, and I do have determined on it. Obviously, bighorn, not perfect rolls, but if you didn't know, basically just allows you to build stacks with headshot damage. So when you shoot the head, you get bonus damage to headshots, and then you can build up to like 50 of these. And the other thing it does is allows you to switch from automatic unscope to semi-automatic scope versions. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Main reason I was using sharpshooters because of that weapon handling buff that it gives you. But besides for that, there's really no real reason to use it. So if you are interested in a weapon handling build, I think I have enough weapon handling on this build that I don't need that. I was, again, just trying to get every little bit I could just to see if it made a difference, and it really didn't make that much of a difference. So yeah, if you're actually interested in something like this, just probably go with a different specialization. All right, so yes, like we already said, going for as much headshot damage and weapon handling on the build as I can. You can see got 2 rolls of headshot damage there, and obviously since the Ninjabike, using weapon handling. Crit chance, weapon handling, headshot damage, and Headhunter on the chest piece. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is basically the same. You know, I got my LMG contractor's gloves, my rifle overlord Fox's prayer, and my last piece of strikers. So obviously weapon handling again. And then, yeah, the Ninjabike for the backpack. Obviously to kind of basically just tie it all together to activate all those other bonuses. Now, of course, the good thing about the, I guess I should say the rifle, is that unlike a traditional marksman rifle, I can still use a shield. So if I really wanted to, yeah, I could use my 1886 with a shield and give myself a little bit more tankiness. And basically, I will still be able to one-tap pretty much everything as a solo player in the game. Obviously not legendaries. But yeah, anything heroic or hard, challenging, speedrunning, anything, yeah, we'll be able to pretty much one-tap most things in the game. Only, obviously, you know, if they're wearing helmets, obviously that's a little bit of a flaw in the design of Determined. Can't one-tap those helmet wearers, and I cannot one-tap like the heavy chungas because it's going to just, again, get their helmet. I think I can do Warhounds though, and I can do the little mini tanks from the Black Tusk. But yeah, I am hitting about 11 million, which is right around where I was. If you saw my pistol video where I said, you know, I need to get about 10 million, and that's basically falls right in line. So I need to get about 10 million to be able to one-tap everything, and I'm getting somewhere between 11 and 12, depending on if they have armor or not. So yeah, that works out really well. Bighorn, again, it can use the same thing with Headhunter. It's not going to be able to one-tap the yellow bars, so I'm not going to be able to one-tap elites with the Bighorn on the semi-auto, but I will be able to one-tap reds and purples with it zoomed in. So if you need to just, like, you know, you just wanted a bigger magazine to do it with, yeah, it's going to work, but you're still going to need to get headshots instead of body shots. Obviously, the Determined allows you to get those body shots, which comes in handy. But yeah, sadly, again, another build that basically the best route to go with it was just to switch out some things and put Determined and Headhunter on it. So yeah, I was so disappointed. And that's the thing, like, it's like, this is okay. Putting this stuff that just literally, you know, you activate it with one headshot, and then you can pretty much just one-tap everything else in the game solo with body shots. That's fine. But having a shotgun that can reach out some longer distances and be able to actually hit the enemy, not even one-shotting them, but just reliably hit enemies at distance with a slug-based shotgun, that's something they're not going to put in the game. Having an LMG with Frenzy that actually feels good, you know, something that lasts longer than 5 seconds, no, you can't do that because it would be too OP. But you can, it's fine putting on Headhunter and Determined and one-tapping. I honestly don't have words to describe how silly it is. Like, this isn't even a good damage build. But yeah, overall, as far as shotguns go, this is an incredibly disappointing build. I mean, it's never going to be what I wanted. It's not going to be what I hoped for. As far as a rifle build, it's going to work fantastically. You put Determined on it, you put Headhunter on it, and you have basically just an instant win button for everything you could do solo. And yeah, that's the state of the game. They're more than fine, kind of like giving the shaft to shotguns and LMGs, making kind of a lot of the other builds just really have to work for everything. Just like you've got to do so much, jump through so many hoops, and yet if you're wearing a piece with Headhunter and you've got a marksman rifle or a pistol with Determined, you can basically just one-shot everything and walk through the game. The balance in this game seriously needs to be worked on. They need to figure it out. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to having something you can build up and buff to get one shots on pretty much the majority of the enemies. But when the reasoning behind having such weak talents on like LMGs or shotguns is because they don't want them to be too strong, and yet you've got this, like, it's kind of just like a slap in the face. It's like, this is the stupidest. You're just giving us excuses, and then you're just pumping out whatever just because you're desperate for people to play the game, I guess. Ugh. It's aggravating. If they want people to play the game, make it more balanced and fix a lot of the other weaker items that have been neglected for the last 4 years now. Fix the other weapon talents, fix the other gear talents, make them better. People will use them and play more. Once things are actually interesting, you don't need new talents. You just need to fix the terrible stuff that you have now. That's basically it. It's real simple. But anyway, guys, sadly, this didn't come out to the end that I was hoping it to. Sadly, I just can't get the super sniper shotgun build that I've been longing for since this game dropped. But, it was interesting to see just what, I could actually get done with it. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.